directly into the camera, please.
So ignore it.
All right, then. So we were going and talking about then early involvement, Earth First, and then the larger organizations as represented by the T-shirts a little bit.
Right. Earth First is more a group that does a lot of civil disobedience. And they have renegades, as they call them, that does stuff that they don't condone, like spiking trees and that sort of thing. They're primarily would, do tree sitting in an area that's going to be logged. It's old growth, a lot of it done out west, but then around here too. And so we
on public lands.
right. They wanted to come and do something on the Clinch when they heard about this bark camp timber sale, which was the big focus that we organized around. And we agreed that they could have a seat on our board, but not do any action unless condoned by the Clinch Coalition, which they agreed to. So they did end up having their, what they call rendezvous, their annual gathering for not just Katua Earth First, but others from this this part of the country. I don't know how far, but they came from, but they had a couple rendezvous, and at one of them, they were teaching tree sitting, and a good number of our members attended that and
Especially tell about
learned.
the old couple, I can't remember.
Well, Otis and
Nancy.
Nancy, older couple, but they didn't actually go up, but we have some pictures of them in the harness anyway. At any rate, the Earth, later we were contacted by, here we go again, names, right, I can't remember, Greenpeace. Because they were supporting 3 forest actions on national forests in the country. And one was in Alaska, I think one in Oregon, and then they chose us as the 3rd one. We were the 3rd one that they also, so much money was appropriated by Greenpeace, we were the 3rd one. And by the time they got to us, they just about ran out of money, but they did buy us our first pop-up tent, and they also paid for literature that we were producing at the time. But that was our connection with those groups as a result of just being a member of SAFC and the other groups there and the Southern Environmental Law Center. What was your question originally?
So we're just going and talking about like the importance of these different T-shirts. So obviously you have a lot of Earth First ones. Do you know when you actually got those, or is it just like they've been there for a while?
It was early on. I mean, 2001, 2002, in that vicinity, I'd want to say. I know, but you then ask about the plaques and us receiving. So the one from, seems like you don't have them here right now. One was from the National, you got it written down?
One of the most outstanding effect by a local group award from Upper Tennessee River Roundtable, and there's also the 2004 Outstanding Member Organization Award from the National Forest Protection Alliance, which is what you're probably referencing.
Right, National Forest Protection Alliance, and I think that one came first. The other one came in 20, does it have the date on it?
2012.
2012. Yeah, again, the first one, we had that connection with them, and we're very pleased to receive that award. Likewise, the other one came, years later, 2012. And I was on the board of the Roundtable pretty much from its beginning for about 10 years. And then Diana Withen, who was our chairperson for a number of years, was on the board. We had a couple of other board members follow up with the Roundtable. And we tried to make them a little more, in some ways, they were not as an activist group as we were, more doing a lot of good stuff, clean up, rivers and streams, which is good, but we tried to get them to be a little more proactive, and succeeded in some, because they actually had board members from the power company and from logging industry that really held back to a certain extent.
Awesome. So then I guess referencing back to the t-shirts, we'll get stuff on bumper stickers in just a little bit, but you have several from like 2004 Hellbender and stuff like that. So are these all like original t-shirts, obviously, from the first event, or?
They are, I didn't even realize it went back to 2004,
It's
14 maybe.
It's 14, that's right.
Yeah,
I
14,
cannot
I was like,
go.
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
so tiny, that's such
Yeah,
a
that's
report.
right, 14
Yep,
sounds more
my
like that.
bad.
We first, when we started having our naturalist rally, and that was under Anna Hess was working for us at the time, and she was excellent. She was a biologist.
And an artist.
Yeah. And she got the naturalist rally going, as well as our art essay contest in the schools and our stream monitoring program. But so at the first, or maybe not the first, but maybe the second naturalist rally, we were at Bart Camp Lake, and we did just a run around the lake. That was our first, I think it's a mile or so. And did that initially, but then a few years later went with the big run, the Hellbender. We had t-shirts made for each rally. And then when the Hellbender began, we had t-shirts made just for it. We might have done combined t-shirts a couple years, but so t-shirts were just made for the rally, which was a week, the following week. I mean, the run the following week after the rally. And yeah.
Okay, so that's talking about the Hellbender one. You've talked about Earth First stuff. Is there anything else cool about these lovely snazzy t-shirts, or is there's also then, I think, if I remember correctly, 2020 as well? How was the t-shirts for surviving 2020 then and the pandemic? Did everyone have to order them, or since that was probably one that was held online, correct?
Right, and that's later history, which, do you remember? I think.
I would be the historian for the
Yeah,
pandemic.
All right, I'll go and inquire about that in just a moment then.
Yeah, I could say what I think, but it's, that was all done online, that's right. And definitely different.
And then another Earth First one, this Round River Reservoir, frog level. Is there any meaning behind that? Or
Well, that, as I said, that was one of their rendezvous, but
Yeah.
I'm not sure which frog level that is. Does it say why?
why
So that would have been in 2000.
In Harlan County, that's where they wasn't it, rendezvous?
I'm not sure about this one. Yeah, they did have a rendezvous over there. There's a frog level Virginia over in Caswell County, but that's not that frog level. I know there's one in Tennessee too, which might have been more likely because they're based in Tennessee. But I don't know, they just gave me that t-shirt at one point.
And then for the Greenpeace Force Crimes Unit one, is that when they were just swinging by to go and help y'all? Was that
Yes.
during tree sits then around that time, or was that before or after?
This was while Bart Camp Timber Sale was going on. I mean, it dragged out over a couple years. We had public hearings set up by the Forest Service, much more extensive than they've done on any other timber sale. They brought in monitors from Virginia Tech, I believe, and had, I think, 4 different meetings. And that was during that period then, from in 2000, 2001, 99, 2000, 2001, something like that. And that's when Congressman Boucher got very much involved and helped us. We managed to get that sale reduced in half. 1,400 acres got reduced down to 700 acres. They wanted to do a lot of cutting along a trail, the Benji Scout Trail. It goes from the Hideout Tower all the way down to the little Stony Creek Falls and on down to Dungan. They, just doing it right along the trail for one thing. And they got back from that, got it reduced, and then that's when there was a big flood in 2001 maybe. And a lot of that timbering was in 2 watersheds, a little Stony watershed that goes to Dungannon, and then the big Stony watershed that goes down to Fort Blackmore, both in Scott County. And in that flood, a man was actually killed. His house was washed away, and he was killed. Right after that, a couple of us took Boucher hiking up and pointed out to him a dam that was naturally made of slash, otherwise all the cuttings that come off the trees. And you could see then where it broke free, which caused the flash flood that took that house out, and a bridge, and did a lot of other damage. At that point, Boucher had hearings, public hearing on what caused the flood. And that resulted in reducing the timber sale by another 80 acres, I think, more in that particular watershed.
So it's just right around the start of everything getting going is then that one?
Right, and we did have the petition, it has been brought up earlier, I presume we talked about it. That was what also got Congressman Boucher involved, because we presented a petition to him as well as to the district ranger and the supervisor. Supervisor is over all of the national forests, all of the Jefferson GW National Forest out of Roanoke, what they call the supervisor. But that got Boucher involved, even though some of our members had a real close relationship with him to start anyway, and that helped.
And then the very last one that I have right now is another of the Hellbender ones. It's very fun from 2016, not 2006, 2016.
Yeah.
But, so those are obviously directly from the events. Is there anything else you want to mention about the Hellbenders and these t-shirts, or?
No.
That's fair. All right.
That's more recent.
Mhm.
That there is something I brought in the file there, and I don't know if it's been talked about much, which is the other big action we took after Bart Camp Timber Sale. We had several other actions followed up on. One was a removal of surface rock for decorative work at people's homes. A local company wanted to get permission to do that. We fought that, and that was a pretty easy victory. I don't think the Forest Service even wanted them to go in with backhoes and just tear up rocks that were on the surface to then put in front of people's but then the one that followed that was major and took a lot of work was stopping ATV trail on the National Forest, which was an area over between Duffield and Fort Blackmore in the Mabe community. And that was a major struggle. And we had a petition for that as well, which I found a file on it that
Would-
has,
Would you like to go over the files then?
we can do that. Yeah.
Jerry Scarlett.